The rich will get richer on the backs of people like you and me. Congressman August Pfluger, how do you react to that?
Easy on the esteemed.
I generally go the opposite way of Chuck Schumer on any thought, on any advice, on anything. And when we're talking about tax cuts, we're delivering for the American people. We're going to continue to do the bill that I've been talking about for several months now, and to mold that so that every American family gets money back into their pockets, so that we are actually delivering on what President Trump campaigned on, what he promised on. So Chuck Schumer from New York, I'm not sure I would trust much of anything that he says, Craig.
Go fly a kite.
Yeah. Now, Congressman Pfluger, set it straight again. I don't think you have to, but go ahead and just make it very clear here if you don't mind. But they keep telling us that they're going to take money from the working people and the backs of us working people and give it to the rich. In other words, cuts to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, whatever.
Well, this is an outright lie. It's false. It's something it's a pretty typical Democrat talking point to stir up the fear amongst the population. But look, the tax cuts that President Trump passed in 2017, that many of the provisions are expiring right now, have delivered for the American people in the biggest way in 100-plus years, and we're going to extend those. But most importantly, for middle class, for Main Street business owners, I mean, if you own a small business, a restaurant, or dry cleaners, or any sort of small business in Midland or Odessa, the 199A provisions that allow you to have what they call a pass-through provision, that's not for the rich. That's for everyday Americans. That's for people who want to make good on their idea, own their own business, do something for the community, and get a fair deal, a fair shake. So, just to address that point, we're not taking money out of anybody's pocket. We're actually putting money back into everybody's pocket, whether you're, it doesn't matter what socioeconomic bracket you're in, whether you're just starting out and you're starting to earn wages, or whether you've been doing it for many, many years and you've enjoyed success are in the higher socioeconomic bracket. That's the beauty about these tax cuts, is that they deliver for everybody. And then let me just say something. You mentioned Medicare and Social Security. These are not provisions that we're even dealing with right now. They will not be affected. If you're receiving Social Security, your benefits are going to continue to come to you every single month. And I'll mention something on Medicaid. Well, it's important that we look at the fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, there are estimates, Craig, that suggest that billions and hundreds of billions of dollars in improper Medicaid payments go out each year. We need to be looking at this. But your benefits will not be affected. And no matter what Democrats say, that's not something we want to make sure that those, the children, women who are going to have babies, and those who are disabled, that their benefits continue in the way that they were meant to be. And by cutting some of the fraud, waste, and abuse, we can actually deliver more benefits to those who really need it. And that's important, and that's the truth.
So Congressman, that's how they spin it, right? So they spin it and saying, because we're looking at fraud to save the American government money and the American people money, oh my God, they're looking into fraud, so it's going to affect you. You're not going to get any more Social Security. That's how they spin these things, and it's crazy to scare. It's their scare tactic.
In other words, the only cuts that are coming will be in wasteful spending.
Yes.
That's exactly right. And I'll say, additionally, Texas doesn't have this issue because our Medicaid population is actually the population that it was developed for. And I just mentioned the categories of children and pregnant women and those who are disabled. Those are the people who were intended to receive Medicaid, is what we're talking about here. But in other states like New York, where Chuck Schumer lives, they expanded that to able-bodied working adults. So if you're an illegal alien, you come in through El Paso or Eagle Pass or Del Rio, you go right to New York City. You might ask yourself, why are they going to New York City? It's because they can register to receive illegal aliens with no proof of documentation or identification, can register for Medicaid. If you're a working adult you can register for Medicaid. That's not who the population was intended to be for the recipients of Medicaid. So what we are saying, in addition to getting rid of the fraud, waste, and abuse, is we believe there should be a work requirement for able-bodied working adults. And that work requirement is pretty simple. It's about 20 hours a week. And oh, by the way, you can also volunteer. You can also go help out. There's many different things you can do, but you should be looking to get a better insurance plan, something that when you get a job, you have access to better insurance. We want to protect Medicaid for those who it was originally intended to be delivered to.
Congressman August Pfluger is with us on AM 1070, KWEL, and FM 107.1. Windy, dusty, blowing dust, all that kind of thing today in West Texas. You know the routine. And today we'll have a high of about 67. It's 60 right now, so obviously we're not going to warm up just too much more. Congressman Pfluger, DOGE is a big news story, and all kinds of cuts. And we were just talking about this. You can put a little humor into it, but it shows you how stupid all of this is. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for that has been going to transgender farmers. I don't get it.
Well, nobody gets it. These are it's total madness. And these are 80-20 issues, maybe 90-10 issues. 90% of the American public doesn't believe that should be happening. Yet there are hundreds of programs just like that DOGE has figured out, and they're going to go away. And I'll tell you, Craig, a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one, we passed a continuing resolution, and I don't like continuing resolutions. It's one of those things where we need to get back to regular order, pass the appropriations bills, and I think we will. But I was very proud that the House came together, and one of the reasons we passed this continuing resolution and sent it over to the Senate to dare Chuck Schumer to shut down the government, which I don't believe he will. But we did so because we need some time to capture those DOGE thoughts. What are the programs that DOGE is looking at? We still don't know the full extent. So as we look at the appropriations process, we're going to be capturing their thoughts and incorporating those cuts into our fiscal year 26 budget. Number two, Craig, it is a big day for Texas 11 in Washington, D.C. It's a really, really big day, and I'll tell you why. In just a couple of hours, I am headed to the Oval Office to be with President Trump to sign into law a bill that repeals the methane tax. So when you talk about DOGE and inefficiencies, what I was able to do was look at the Biden administration's assault on energy, on oil and gas specifically, and the fact that they were taxing methane, taxing natural gas, and we were able to pass what they call a Congressional Review Act, a CRA, which undoes the previous administration's ill-thought-out plans, overreaching, burdensome regulatory environment, and it had to do with natural gas. So if you're a producer, if you're a midstream company, if you're anywhere in the value chain of oil and gas, today is a really, really big deal because President Trump is going to sign into law a repeal of the tax that was levied upon this industry. I'll be in the White House, in the Oval Office with him, in a monumental day. We'll get a press release out about it, but very proud to deliver promises made, promises kept, to deliver for Texas 11.
And by the way, thanks for doing that. I have to only imagine what it must feel like to walk in the Oval Office. Not a lot of people get to do that. That's going to be quite a thing.
Well, I will. It is quite a thing. It's a huge honor. But what will be going through my mind is on days like today where it's windy and a little bit miserable outside, or where it's cold, or where it's hot, the men and women in the Permian Basin are going to work and they're delivering energy, low cost, affordable, reliable energy, despite being assaulted by the Biden administration for 4 years. We still did it every single day, and that's what's going to go through my mind. And that's what I'm going to tell President Trump is, you said you want to drill, baby, drill. My constituents are doing that every single day. He's been to Midland. I brought him there. He knows what we do, and it's going to be a really proud moment